Hey, what's up guys? So today I'm teaching you a trick called the invisible palm, or sometimes called the open travelers. So this plot was first published in a magazine called The New Phoenix sometime around 1960 or 61 by William Miesel. It was called Invincible, and it was sort of a cross between the invisible palm like we know today and the Ace Assembly. Later on, people caught wind to it, such as Ed Marlowe, Larry Jennings. It was actually Ed Marlowe who coined the term open travelers. Larry Jennings really loves this idea, the idea of pretending to take a card and having an invisible card in your hand, apparently, and putting it on the table, so much so that he called it his own. Later, Paul Harris reinvented it. He calls it the invisible palm, which can be found in the Art of Astonishment series. I first saw this routine performed for the very first time by Wayne Houchin on YouTube about 14 years ago. And at the time, I was a complete beginner in magic. I just started getting into it, maybe a year into it. And I saw this and I was just like, there's no way this is possible. So I just sat there on my computer and just replayed the video over and over until I finally figured it out. And since then, I've just been playing with it. And what I'm going to show you today is just my handling on it and my presentation. And I hope you enjoy it. So there's many ways to cheat at the card table, and in this video I'm going to show you just one of those ways. And so I think the best way to demonstrate this technique for you is if I used, let's just go with 4 cards this time. All right, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4 cards. All right, so in this case, it doesn't really matter what the cards are, just as long as we got 4 there. All right, so watch, if you blink, you might miss this. All right, so what this is coming down to your cards here and just squeezing your hand like this and popping a card right out of there. All right, so that was a little quick, and you didn't know what to look for, so I'll do it again. All right, this time a little bit slower. Now what this is just hiding a card in your hand, and it's actually known as palming. All right, so all you do is pop that card right out of your hand from your palm. All right, so but this has a downside of being caught. All right, so number one, you're in sort of a cramped position like this. All right, sometimes you can see the card sticking out, and if you have small hands, you can see through your fingers. So through the years, gamblers have invented ways to sort of hide this a little bit better and make it more natural, all right? So all you do for this technique, and it takes years of practice, you have to wiggle your thumb like this, sort of squeeze that card into your hand, wiggle your fingers like this, and all of a sudden that card looks like it's gone, but really it's just in the invisible palm, all right? So whenever you need that card, you just come down and give that a little bit of a squeeze like this, and that card just pops right out. So I'll do it one more time, this time with that Jack of Hearts there, all right? So usually it's done off the deck, and these cards have to stay clear away from that card there, right? So with this, what was it, the Jack of Hearts, you do it off the deck, all right? So with this technique, you palm the card off like normal, like this, and like I said, with this technique, you just wiggle your fingers like this, wiggle your thumb, sort of squeeze it down. All of a sudden, the Jack of Hearts, it looks like it's gone, but really, we know that's in the invisible palm there, right? So whenever you need that Jack, come down, just give your hand a squeeze like this, and that Jack just pops right out. And that is the 4-card invisible palm. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that performance. I just love that trick. It's one of my favorite things to do with cards. So there's a little bit of a setup involved, and here's how you get into it. So the first thing you'll need is a deck with 2 matching jokers, all right? So the second thing you need to do is put one of those jokers third from the top, and then the other joker second from the bottom. Next, what you want to do is give the deck a downward bend like this, just a little bit, and then with the second card, it doesn't matter what the card is, what you want to do is give it an upward bend like this, so it's bending in the opposite direction of the other cards there. You can see that quite clearly, but it's not noticeable when you're performing. So again, the whole deck is downwardly crimped. The second card is bent upward, and the third card is a joker. And now second from bottom, you have the other joker. The card on the bottom does not matter. And when you put this set up, you're ready to begin. So what you want to do first is get a break on the bottom card like this by pulling down with your pinky first and just getting a thumb break on the bottom card like this. Now what you're going to do is make it appear as though you're taking off 4 cards. In reality, you're taking 5 cards, all right? So for this, you thumb over 2 cards. That's 1, 2. On the third card, you steal that broken card onto the packet as you take the third card, all right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, all right? So One more time with that count, you get a break on the bottom card, that bottom random card. And on the count of 3, so that's 1, 2, on the count of 3, you just take your pinky and just hit the side of that broken card like this as you peel that third card. So you just drop it or take your pinky to aid in stealing it on the third count so that steal is hidden, and then the last one is normal, all right? So it looks like you've taken 4 cards. In reality, you have 5 cards, all right? So now you can just set the deck aside and do it face up so they can see that joker there. Now, what you're going to do here is apparently spread the cards and put 1 card on the table, all right? So what's actually going to happen is you're going to put 2 cards on the table, all right? So it's going to be a double, and it's very easy to do. All you have to do is an Ascanio spread, all right? So with that, you take the packet in middle grip like this, and for the Ascanio spread, all you do is thumb over the first card, the top card like this. As you take your fingers from beneath, pull a bottom card out, and then pull another bottom card out again like this. And then you're left holding a double card in middle grip like this. So again, top card, other bottom card like this. So you're left holding a double in middle grip like this. And you can pinch the whole packet like this and come up to show. It doesn't matter what the cards are, blah, blah, blah. All you're going to do to set the double down is come down like this so the whole edge hits the table like this squarely, and then just loosen your fingers and the card will just come out perfectly square. Alright, so do your Ascanio spread. Doesn't matter what the cards are. That edge strikes the table. Just come away, just loosen your fingers and come away like this, and that double card stays square. Now, at this point, what you're going to do is say, look, if you blink, you'll miss this. So what you're going to do is act like you might be doing something sneaky. So square the cards up, maybe give it an all-around square up like this, and make your hand as if it might be palming something, but don't overdo it, just act as though, something might be happening here. And all I'm going to do is say, look, if I come over here and I squeeze my hand down on this card here, 1 card just pops out. And what you're doing here is some people just do it like this, which is a bad technique, all right? So what you need to do to make it look a little bit more, not natural, but magical, is sort of strike the edge of the card with the side of your hand like this, all right? So as you come down, just do this, and that card will sort of just spread on its own, all right? So you're not doing, it's not this, because that doesn't look magical, all right? So you want to create the illusion as if a card is just popping out of your hand. And you can even do like a waving motion too if you want to. So again, that side of your hand strikes the edge of the card here. So you come down sort of like a karate chop on the edge of the card here, like this. So it comes down, sort of wave like in a magical, you can even do this to make it look like it just appears there, which is very nice. Now, the reason why you bent that card upward, it'll be in the middle of the 2 cards here. You're going to do what's known as the pad spread. So what happens here is if you just throw the cards like this, since that card is bent upward, this will be a double, which is very nice for this trick, all right? So again, all you do is pick up these cards here, and don't spread these cards. Look, there's 2 cards here, 2 and 2. Don't do that. Just they know it's 2 and 2 because they can do math, all right? So all you do is keep these cards square, scoop these up, and just throw these like this, and the card will just stay as a double, all right? So there's no need to overproof anything. You're just picking cards up and throwing cards down. That's all it is. Now, as you're doing that, you say, now that was a little bit fast, and you didn't know what to look for, so I'll do it again. And it's only at this point you will explain what palming a card is, all right? So what's going to happen is you set up for a tent vanish, which is just this. A card is just in a tent position, and you really palm a card off like this. Say, look, this is what palming is. You just palm a card off like this. Now, you don't want to show it because this will be a joker, which will look kind of weird for later, right? So you want to keep this face down at all times. You explain that, if you're bad at palming, sometimes it can be seen, especially if you have small hands, and sometimes your hand can look cramped, stuff like that. Basically, you're just explaining the disadvantages of palming a card, and you're explaining the real disadvantages of palming a card. Now, notice what I'm doing here also. As I palm that card away, I'm sort of turning my hand palm down and sort of bending this upward and putting this card, I'm not dropping, I'm just sort of holding it here like this, and that'll be sort of a callback for later, so it'll look natural, all right? So what we're going to do again is palm the card off. This can be seen, especially if you have small hands, it doesn't look natural, blah, blah, blah. And then as you go to do it again, you say, look, this is how gamblers have improved the technique through the years. This time you do the tent vanish, act like you're palming a card, but really you're just dropping that card off squarely on top of the other card like this, Just make it look like you're palming it. Really, you palm nothing. It's squared on top. Now at this point, you do the exact same thing as you did before. Sort of bend this card, and this time do drop it as a double. You say, look, this is the technique that they have invented. You sort of wiggle your thumb like this, wiggle your fingers, sort of press the card into your hand, and it looks like the card is gone. You say, but really, it's called the invisible palm, and you can be real natural with this. I mean, it almost looks like it's not there, all right? So you're sort of trolling them at this point, all right? So see, whenever you need the card that's in the hidden invisible palm, you just come down and produce it, and squeeze it right out of your hand, and you just do that production I taught you. Strike it like this, sort of do a magical gesture like this, squeezes, pops right out of your hand. Now, usually, traditionally, you would have to pick up this double, put it on top, then take the card off and put it on the deck. However, in this case, I think it's better if you just scoop these up and then just scoop that one as well in the same scooping motions, all right? So what we can do is just drop these on top like this and scoop everything up, all right? So we'll take the 6 of hearts and then scoop everything up, take it right back off. But really, this card is the matching joker, right? So what you do is you take what they believe is a 6 of hearts off and put it face down right there on top of the deck. Now, at this point, you just sort of do the same as Escondida spread, only this time you just push over 2 cards off the bottom. So this last one will be a double. Say, I don't want to go anywhere near those cards, so just drop all 3 cards on the table like this, making sure that double stays aligned. Now, at this point, what you're going to do is Ken Krenzel's face up 10 vanish. However, in this case, you're going to do it face down on top of a face-up deck. And what you want to make sure about that the jokers line up like this. So if it's upside down, it's not going to look right, all right? So what you want to do is make sure these are aligned, facing the same way. All right, so you're saying we'll take the card. What was it, the 6 of hearts? And you do you set it for the 10 vanish, the face-up 10 vanish. Now what's going to happen here, instead of doing this, normally with the 10 vanish, that'll be obvious, you're going to do something a little bit different, right? So this is how the face-up this is how the face-up 10 vanish goes, all right? So what you're doing is this, all right? So instead of coming over like this, what's going to happen is you're going to sort of clip the corner of the card in the fork of your hand here, all right? So like this, you're clipping that card just like this, all right? So what's going to happen, this is exposed view, the card is you're going to clip that card there like this, and naturally that card is just going to come this way, sort of turning face up, and then you're going to just clamp that card down with your thumb like this as you go away to apparently palm the card off, all right? So from over here, since these match, it looks like you really did palm the card off, all right? So this is what they see. And look how good that looks. It just looks like you palm the card off since that card is just going face up and they match. It looks perfect, all right? So once again, exposed view, you're like this, clip the card there, snap the card with your thumb, come away as if you're palming the card, all right? So that's the face up 10 vanish by Ken Krenzel, just like this. So now I just set the deck down and say, look, once again, we'll do the invisible palm technique. All you do, remember, wiggle your thumb, press the card into your hand, wiggle your fingers. Looks like that 6 of hearts is gone. Really, it's just in the invisible palm. Whenever you need it, come down to your hand here, do the invisible palm technique I showed you. Boom, pops right out, and that is the 4-card invisible palm. Alright guys, so as always, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. It really does mean the world to me. And if you got value out of this video, if you learned something new, do me a huge favor, hit the like button and sub to the channel, and it helps me out more than you might think. Until next time, happy practicing. I love you guys.